Catch the Moon is a dexterity game published by Cosmos, and it can be played cooperative, competitive, or also solitaire. With solitaire, you're just trying to score as many points as possible, and with cooperative, well, same thing. Competitive, you're trying to mess up as little as possible. So there's also that element there that cooperative may be a little more, cause players to be a little more ambitious than in competitive, because in competitive you will be often will want to take the safe option while you're hoping that the opponents mess up, because there is a number of raindrops, and when somebody makes a mistake they have to take a raindrop. When the last raindrop has been taken in competitive, the game is over, and whoever has the fewest raindrops wins the game. In competitive, you will have 5 raindrops that you'll be using for scoring possibilities, so the team together will decide when to spend one to score. However, when somebody makes a mistake, the raindrops are also returned to the box, so you will have few opportunities of scoring. As you can see, the box is also used to store. These are the letters that are slightly different from one another in terms of the shape, how many rungs they have exactly, or some of these half-broken things sticking out. Then you have the base, which is made of plastic and has these like holes that you can use to insert the 2 starting letters in different configurations, as you can see here. There's also a 3rd straight letter, which is simply used as a spare. So, and you got also all important, this die. So when it is your turn, players will alternate taking turns, you roll the die. And if I just did roll a single letter, that means that you will draw a letter from the pool, and you have to place it so that it doesn't touch the cloud, it doesn't touch the table, and it touches only and exactly a single other letter. For example, like so. That would be allowed, because I placed it, is not touching the cloud or anything, and it touches one other letter. If you roll the die, you still have to play, and you roll the 2-letter symbol, you still place a single letter, but now it has to touch 2 and exactly only 2 other letters. And suppose that I did that, that would be silly, because I would just lose that game. So let's start over. There you go. And suppose that was our starting situation. I placed the initial letter and I placed it that way, which works, and now I'm trying to place the new one so that it touches 2, and I want it to touch these 2, like so. There it is. Super precarious and annoying, so probably good in competitive, not so good in cooperative, but allowed. And there you go. I'm touching exactly the one that I just placed, touches exactly 2. Suppose that when you roll the die, you roll the moon, then you gotta shoot for the moon. Now, the number of the letters that you touch doesn't matter, but after you place the new letter, it has to be the highest in the whole composition here. And that would be the case, because the top of that one is not the highest. And so that's how it works. If you make a mistake, so that after you place your letter something false, again, that is when you take, in competitive, you take a raindrop as a record of your shame, basically, or in competitive when the group loses a raindrop. Competitive, again, the group can also decide after a turn has been taken to score, in which case, remember, you spend a raindrop. But how do you score? Well, here the lid of the box is actually used as a game component. You place it vertically next to your composition, and for each letter that is partially taller than the top of the box, the group scores a point. For each letter which is entirely higher than the lid in the composition, then you score 3 points. That's tough. That's pretty tough to achieve. Also, I'm keeping the box vertical here so it gives a nice background in the opening shot of my video, but it's more fun if, as you play the game, that is on the table and people are just trying to guesstimate. Do you think we're higher than the box, like 1 or 2 higher? And so that's how it would work. So this is the game, very simple. I mean, when you know it's this kind of game, you already knew probably before I even start, my video that it was gonna be, there are gonna be rules to place letters here. But of course, it's all about how that is done. There you go. I just touched 2 letters as it was required, so I'm pretty proud of that. So the game is very simple in its general conception, but it's also very clever because discovering different ways in which these letters can be connected. For example, that is super cool that I just did that, but it's not good enough because I need to touch 2, so I need to do something else. That one is 1. Also, by the way, what I'm doing, I'm touching with 2 hands, not allowed. But I'm doing it because I'm doing it. It's my game. It's my house. I'll do it. I know. I just wanted to create a bit of a crazy, fun composition. Again, to give you a sense of what it looks like after maybe a couple of turns. Because to me, that is one of the incentives of this kind of creative game, to see if what you're able to come up with. Now, something that's supposed to touch only 1. Yeah, well, I'll have to figure it out. That would not be good if I was supposed to touch only 1. But anyways, as an example of suppose I need to touch 2. But again, it's really creative. It's really fun. Games where you're stacking stuff, ultimately, they amount to that. It may not be about how totally subtle the strategy is, but is the result fun looking, crazy, looking precarious, looking like it really shouldn't be standing in the air, and maybe it does and maybe it does not. I'll give an example of maybe it does not. And yes, it did. So, Catch the Moon. Nothing that maybe that you haven't seen when we're talking about the general idea, but execution is fun because these little letters have been slightly different. They just offer different challenges, and there is, yes, a lot of fun in figuring out maybe a ways in which you could hang one thing off another in a way that you hadn't realized, and it looks like it defies the laws of gravity. But I guess ultimately gravity wins. You can fight the law of gravity and the law wins. There you go. But it's fun. It's a simple family game. When playing with my kids decidedly prefer cooperative games to competitive, and so there is the advantage that this one works either way. As a probably too light, too simple for me, say, to play a game night, but as a family game, definitely entertaining, definitely fun. I mean, the judges, when it comes to family games, the judges are my kids mainly, and my kids like them, and that's the main thing I have to say here. Catch the Moon, it's a light, simple, stacking, dexterity family game, but it can turn out to be quite crazy looking and definitely quite entertaining. So, for an entertaining, simple family game, this one is enjoyable. Catch the Moon, give it a try, and see if you can do better than I did here.